And I just pressed record, so go off.
Well, before we get started, man, how are you dealing with all this quarantine stuff, man? Being just kind of at home
I'll
all the
be
time.
I'll be honest, I'm struggling day to day. I mean, like some days are good, I'll work out, I'll go for a jog or whatever. But other days, I'm just like, stuck on the couch watching Netflix, whatever. There's only so much of that you could do.
It's brutal, man. Like
Yeah,
even just going for a run or trying to find things to do and like
yeah,
Netflix and just not eat the house down and stuff. And then even
yeah.
like social media becomes a mess. Like you don't even want to read half this nonsense. So
I'm tired of everybody's opinions, and I'm sure most people are tired of ours too. So,
yeah, I don't care. That's what we're
yeah,
here for.
you know.
Based on
Again,
based
what,
on our
what,
timeline, dude, everybody hates us anyway, so we're good.
seriously, that's the big thing with sports, though. Like, whenever in life you're going through something, normally you can at least like sit home 7 o'clock and you got a game on. Now it's like, all right, we got the draft in 5 days. That's as
Yeah.
much as you have to look forward to. So
And now everything's just being analyzed, overanalyzed because we had nothing else to do. It's like everybody's looking at the same
yeah,
shit and it's
yeah.
like the same reports and one little story comes out, everybody's all over it and there's 85,000 podcasts and 3 million experts and
So let's start with the reports from yesterday. Jamal Adams
you
not
know,
interested in participating in voluntary off-season workouts. What are your thoughts on that?
thoughts are this. We talked about this 2 months ago. We're actually ahead of the curve on this. We actually
Well,
predicted all of this. Did
well,
we
that's
not
why.
predict this shit?
Well, go back to my call on Tuesday. That's why I started with McCaffrey's deal. You knew how Jamal Adams was going to take that news. The guy that was picked 2 picks ahead of him
Yep.
already got rewarded by a new coach. So,
Dude, and it's like the story here is obvious. It's like, listen, Jamal Adams is an all-pro. He's earned a new contract according to listen. They said improve every year. He's done that. He listened, and I'm gonna go off, dude, because
go for
all
it.
these
I'll sit
stories I
back.
hear about, he's only a safety. Okay, he's an all-pro safety, which means one of the two best players at his position in all the NFL.
At 24 years old.
Right. He led defensive backs in sacks, tackles for a loss, and quarterback pressures. Not too bad for just a safety.
Yep.
Emotional leader, captain, your best recruiter, your face of your franchise. But now all of a sudden, Jamal Adams is just, fuck him because he's a pain in the ass on social media. Listen, the same things everybody hates about him is the same thing everybody loves about him when it's not about his contract. When he's on social media talking about the Jets and posting all those videos and game day and this, everybody loves him. He mentions one thing about money. Oh, he's a pain in the ass. He's a malcontent.
Oh, dude, it's exactly the same thing with Revis, and you've been saying this for weeks. It's
How
exactly
people
the
not
same
see
thing as
this?
Revis, yeah.
Dude, it's a time. Like I posted a tweet, dude. It's a timeline. It's the same goddamn thing. Players, we love the player. He's a franchise player. He outplays his contract. He's due. The NFL is a business now. This is the whole hometown discount, play out your contract. It's all bullshit because players know when you're not playing your contract out, they cut you.
Yep.
So it
It
goes
works both ways. Yep.
So that's it. And so, so you got to start that. We all love him. We draft him. He plays great. He becomes all pro. He's earned his contract. The team, we love Jamal. He's our guy. We're going to make him a Jet for life. Wonderful.
Yep.
What did Rex Ryan do at Revis? The same.
Called him the best,
thing.
dude.
It's the same. How do people not say that? Like, oh, it's different player, different. No, it's not. It's the same situation. Yeah. So now the Jets pay himself in a corner, but he said, oh, we want Jamal back. This is a guy we want to keep forever. Jamal says, I want to be back. Show me the money. Yep. The Jets aren't doing it because and listen, I understand why they're not. They don't have to right now. They still have a couple more years, but you painted yourself in the corner. Yep. And now this is the only way that Jamal can kind of flex his muscle a bit and say, listen, last year, the trade deadline, you were shopping me. I don't give a shit what anybody's saying. They did. They took calls for it and they were tempted, but they backed off probably because Chris Johnson said, you know what? We can't do this. That's my guess.
That's another X factor, yeah.
So here we are again, and the Jets have a ton of holes, and you know what? And teams are going to try to test Jets out. Say, listen, what can we get for Jamal? Will they flinch? And I think Jamal, Joe Douglas, as expected, will take the phone call, as he should, as any general manager should. This is why Odell Beckham got traded. You explore everything and say, okay, what are you going to offer me? If you make me an offer that blows my doors away, I'd be an asshole not to take it. If they say, hey, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a whatever, how do you know what? But to me, and there's 2 things about this I don't like. The first thing is, I have a funny feeling that Jets ownership will block this because Chris Johnson at this point in the stage of the Jets, they have no marketing, they have no ticket sales, they have no identity at all. Sam Darnold is not your identity. Sam Darnold's not your. So you're going to trade away your only marketable player. You're going to trade him away. I don't think Chris Johnson let him do it.
That's why when people say that Jamal Adams doesn't have leverage in this situation, I think that's completely false. He recognizes that this organization's been a clown show for a decade, that they almost have to pay him, and that the fans are on his side. The fans want him back. And that's why I think you're right that ownership's going to react to that.
Yeah,
they always have in the past.
Listen, I mean, people can, whatever, dude. I get attacked all day long for this shit. It's just the way the Jets do business. The NFL is a business. The whole Revis thing. We went through this whole Revis thing last time. We went through this on the radio show. We went through it, and it's like everybody loved Jim. Everybody loved Revis. Loved Revis. Oh, he's all about the money. The NFL is a business, and this is Jamal's first big contract, and he's earned it. And you watch all across the NFL, teams find a way to take care of your player, especially when you promise them you're going to do it, and especially after you didn't trade him last year. So, like, listen, it's just, dude, you can see where this is going, and I don't blame him at all. Like, the timing of this is terrible because you're in a pandemic and everybody's isolated, but it's right before the draft, and McCaffrey got signed. So, you know, at some point you say, hey, you know what? I don't listen. We all respect what's going on in this world, but as a player, as Jamal Adams, listen, you got to take care of yourself here.
Yep.
So I'm going to play the game. The Jets are going to play the game.
The thing I keep going back to is who else are the Jets paying next year?
Nobody. We talked about this. Marcus May. Who is it?
Joe Douglas isn't a guy that's going to build through free agency. So if he's saving up $100 million, it's for what? You have a couple guys, maybe Jordan Jenkins and May and Brian Poole, that you might sign for $5, $6, $7 million, but you have $100 million, more than that probably. So who else is getting that money? You're not building your team through free agency. You have draft picks. So why not pay a guy that's been here that wants to win here?
And the thing is, you made a great point about the contract. You look at McCaffrey's contract and how
no new money. No new money.
That's the whole point.
It's not going to affect the cap this year. There's no precedent for that. If he's asking for that, all right, fine, trade him. But I guarantee you he's not.
Nope.
Because there are no examples of guys getting new money in the fourth year, the fifth year option, their new deal. It doesn't happen. So this is going to be an extension. And he's earned that. He's 100% earned that.
Yeah, and the thing is, and we've talked about it, and Manish even, like, listen, people hate Manish. He wrote a great article about it. It's like, listen, you're adding on money. So you add on money to his contract. You add, give him 17. Like, people still worry with numbers, 17, 18. $2 million a year isn't shit. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm only going to pay him 16, but I won't give him 18. That $2 million, who gives it? Like, who cares? Yeah. It's one of your best players you've had. Like, it's your youngest star, a bright star. And the cap space, we keep talking about it, the cap space, your TV money, the TV revenue over the next couple of years skyrockets. This salary cap is going to take off. So then he's like, oh, we got to pay Sam. You can pay Sam $35 million. And still, guess what? You can still afford Jamal Adams because there's nobody else to pay. The team sucks. They have no goddamn talent. So now all of a sudden, everybody's penny pitching on Jamal Adams' contract, which is ludicrous.
Dude, just to elaborate on your point before about him not just being a box safety, he had 489 snaps as a box safety last year, 281 snaps as a deep safety, 137 off the edge, 172 as a slot corner, and 40 as a corner. Yeah, so you line him up all over the place, and he's effective, but he's just a safety.
See, the whole thing, and what's driving me insane is people think that we can't pay Jamal Adams and build the rest of our team. Yes, we can.
Do both.
We just talked about it. And the thing is, you look so hard to find a play like this. We got to build around Sam. Okay, you build around Sam, and you build your defense around Jamal and all the things you can do. We had Jeff Lloyd on Tuesday night, and what did he say? It's about the NFL has changed. It's not really about linebackers anymore. It's about the secondary. It's about safeties. It's about corner. It's about pass rushing. Yeah. Jamal Adams does all three of those freaking things. And it's like you can build around Jamal and you can build around Sam. You can do both things. You have the money and ability to do it, especially next year. You have $100 million. Like, I don't understand all this angst and hatred towards him all of a sudden because he's a prick on social media. So what? And the minute he gets signed a new contract, everybody's going to love all his bullshit on social media again. Because, oh, he's our guy. He's the prez. He's this. He's that. He's done everything right. Everything right. Everything you've asked of him. He's an emotional guy. The whole trade deadline last year was whatever.
Well, like you said last week, though, part of his social media monster is what we created.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't – what he does on social media and what he's asking for monetarily, that doesn't affect at all the leader that he is in the locker room, the respect that he has of those players, or the effort that he gives on the field. It doesn't affect that at all.
Love him across the league. He
exactly.
is like you watch after every game, they're changing jerseys. He's we want guys like this. This is the guy you want, and they're like, oh no, fuck him, he's out of here.
Yeah. And that's why I keep saying, for a team that has a player perception problem, the idea of getting rid of Jamal now and then releasing Le'Veon Bell next year, two of the most respected guys in the league, what are we doing?
And then the other thing is, which nobody even talks about, okay, let's trade him away. You got to replace him, dude.
Well, people don't care about that because it's just a safety. You can easily replace a safety with a veteran that's 32 years old and he'll be fine, according to most people. Greg Williams, he'll be able to adapt.
It's amazing, man. How this I expected all this, and I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I told you so. We knew this was gonna happen. It was obvious. This is the same shit that happened with Revis. It's the same way it's gonna play out. And now the Jets are in a hard spot. And all week long, up until Thursday, we're gonna hear all the draft rumors, and Jamal's gonna react to it. The guy's an emotional player with a lot of pride. He's gonna say shit.
Well, let me ask you this: who do you think actually leaked the story? Because Chris Canty, I know he was on ESPN Radio yesterday saying that Jamal's camp was unhappy that it got out. I personally think it was probably Jamal that actually did leak it out. Now he's just trying to, play woe is me. But you could also definitely see Adam Gase or the Jets trying to leak this out there to discredit him. So I don't really know where it came from, but
Yeah, this week is all about leaks now. Everybody's going to try to get what they want or not what they want, or try to, raise awareness of something. And like I said, to me, listen, I understand both sides. Jamal deserves to get paid, and the Jets are kind of weary because they got other needs. And this whole thing, they don't have cap space, is bullshit, because they do have cap space. They can make 3 moves to get cap space. They choose not to because they can't get physicals. Like
Adrian
that.
Williamson, Brian Winters, and Josh Bellamy. That's like $13 million.
And then Nate Harrison, too, if you want to. There's money to be had. Like you can make all kinds of money. That's not even a big deal. So save me that nonsense. It's just a matter of what you want to do. They can afford to do whatever they want. Not out of playing a game. Not being able to have a physical is one thing, but to me, the X factor of all this, and this is where Manish, again, and like I'm not going to keep referencing him, but I'm giving him credit because he's the only one that is willing to say this shit. Ownership, dude. Will Chris Johnson give Joe Douglas the ability to say, you know what, okay, you got to offer you think it's fair. Just say it's a first-round pick and 2 second-rounders and a third round, whatever it is. You think this is fair, pull the trigger. Will Chris Johnson let him trade him? I don't think you will. I don't think you will, dude.
If it's a ridiculous haul, I think you would have to. I mean, you gave the guy a 6-year contract with the intention of letting him do things his way. But if you're going to step in on the first major move that he wants to make to do it his way, I don't know.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that
I also don't think like this should be an open and shut case of, all right, we're either keeping him or we're not keeping him. Like you said, it has to be based on the package. Other than Sam Darnold, there's not one player on this roster that should be considered untouchable. So if a team blows your doors off and you're also not willing to meet his asking price, because it's absurd, all right, maybe you consider it. Otherwise, there is zero reason to talk about trading a player of his caliber entering his prime.
No, I agree.
For a team that needs talent, you don't do that.
No, I completely agree. And then it's like you see the compensation. We want 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and offensive linemen. Listen, the Cowboys have offensive line issues too because one guy retired. I mean, we're not getting Tyron Smith. I mean, to get the names you want, we want your best offensive lineman, 2 first-rounders. They're not going to do that, dude.
The only reason I think maybe you can get a starting caliber offensive lineman from the Cowboys is if they end up trading for Adams. They're obviously going to sign him to an extension. They still have to sign Dak. They just gave Amari Cooper 5 years, $100 million. They gave Zeke money, I think, last year. So they got a lot of guys that they're paying pretty big money. So, if you're able to get one of those guys plus a first-round pick and some more picks, I think you'd have to consider it. Otherwise, you're not going to do it, and you're not going to get that package. So I don't even feel like it's worth discussing.
Yeah, I think that's the 2 things that are probably going to happen because everybody keeps asking what we think. I think 2 things are going to happen. Either Joe Douglas is going to have the compensation so high where nobody's going to match it. Say, listen, we listened, but we couldn't get anything done. He's going to deny ever talking about it because he want to upset Jamal. Or Chris Johnson says, listen, unless they give us like a ridiculously whatever, he's going to block it. So I don't. But this is so expected. We made videos 3 weeks ago about this. We talked about this shit.
I know.
We'll get no credit for it though. So
no, we were just negative.
Yeah, we're just the same old Jet fans that like to complain a lot. What are your thoughts on Logan Ryan, dude? Because that's another guy where he has talent. But I think it's not – I think it's just the money. He wants too much money, and nobody wants to pay it. And teams are now waiting for the draft. Say, listen, let's see what happens in the draft first. If we don't get the guys we want, we sign him afterwards. But, dude, he's 29 years old, makes a lot of plays. He's, we could always use corner help.
Yeah. Well, no, I feel like the Jets probably, if you're looking at their cap right now, they have room to at least make one significant move. I've been hoping it would be Trent Williams. I don't feel like Joe Douglas is looking to go down that path. No. So if you're not, why not solve another need in Logan Ryan? I felt like that was a need you'd address last year. But if you're going to go heavy on offense and take, all offensive linemen and wide receivers in the first 3 rounds, and you can get your cornerback for the next couple of years, it makes perfect sense to do it. A guy like Logan Ryan, who came from the Patriot way, who thrived in Tennessee.
Titans.
Physical guy, yeah. I think he would make all the sense in the world here. And he would fit in perfectly with that secondary with Jamal.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean, I'm hoping to get, like, a guy like him and then like a Marcus Golden to get a pass rusher, like, afterwards, too. But that definitely makes a lot of sense. But here, Trent Williams is an interesting name, dude, because, I sit here and we go on Twitter and we have our fun. And now, all of a sudden, everybody's in attack mode with us because they listen to our show and they want to attack us about we don't know what the hell we're talking about. We don't watch football. We're stupid, which could be true. And very well could be true. I'm not a draft expert. I don't pretend to be one. I don't regurgitate the same articles that everybody else reads and act like I'm a professional. Like, I don't, don't recite to me what somebody else told you and say you watch tapes. I really don't believe you. I don't really, everybody's a draft expert now. But if the Jets have to go, I keep hearing they have to go first round offensive line. They have to get the best guy available. Now some guys are saying, this is the new attacks on YouTube are, you got to go offensive lineman first and second round if you watch football. Okay, well, I watch football. So now we have to get the best guys available in the draft, right? That's what we have to do because this is how you properly build your team. Well, why don't we get the best guys available in free agency?
It's a very good question.
I mean, if protecting Sam is so goddamn important, then why do we go bargain basement shopping in free agency and be okay with it? Because everybody's justifying all this shit because that's okay. Now the draft, if I know football, the draft is. How about, for me, free agency is a known commodity. The draft's an unknown commodity. Free agency is what you know what you're getting. Most of the time, like offensive line, you know what you're getting there, right?
I completely – no, like for the most part, I feel like Joe Douglas, he wants to build through the draft, and that would be fine. But again, when you're talking about your young quarterback on his rookie contract, I feel like that's the one time you would make an exception. So if Joe Douglas came in here and he just wanted to build through the draft and hand out all these low-risk deals, I'd be okay with it in almost any other year. But when you have Sam Darnold, who desperately needs help right now, and you have money to use, the idea of trying to find a diamond in the rough, that just doesn't make sense to me. So
It's like, we got the best offensive line. We should have done free agency.
Exactly.
So then, like, if you're going to tell me
with Connor McGovern, they did. You got arguably the best center on the market, and that's great. Yeah, but the idea of giving George Fant $8.5 million this year, hoping that it works out, without guaranteed money next year, just so you can release him if it doesn't work out. When Conklin was there at a few $1 million extra, or Trent Williams for a mid-round pick.
Yeah, like the argument, like all these ones people attacking me, like, you know what you're talking about? Okay, if you want to sell me, you got to go offensive line heavy, then you should have got better offensive linemen in free agency. So you have more draft flexibility. Like, if anybody, you should be saying, we got to get Trent Williams. Or, hey, listen, we should be getting, like, Jason Peters and Kelvin Beachum after the draft. Like, we can't be just happy with one guy. And then it's like, now we're all of a sudden ignoring the wide receiver position. It's like, we can get one in the third round. Dude, we're going back to the same mistakes we made years ago. Like I don't understand. Like, we watched Robbie leave. All of a sudden, Perryman's an all-pro. And now we're like, wide receivers. This class is so deep, we'll get him in the third round. Have we not learned anything, dude?
Well, again, if we have any bit of belief in Joe Douglas, the idea that we can't draft 2 receivers in one of the most talented classes in the last 10 years, I think that's ridiculous. He should be able to find 2 receivers in the draft class. I don't think that's setting the expectations too high.
Listen, I understand the need for offensive linemen. I don't agree with – listen, I don't know what we have. Our offensive –
Well, again, that's why you try to get the veteran offensive linemen so that you can target the receivers early on in the draft. Or you do a mix and you sign one guy and you draft another guy early and you let them kind of work together. But
after the way they handle free agency, I don't know what Perryman is. Like, if you look at all the reports before last year, like, we don't know what he is. He had 5 good games. He's a journeyman guy, just like the offensive linemen they signed. They're all journeymen. So it's like now all of a sudden we're assuming all these things, and it's like, okay, now we're going to say offensive lineman, good wide receiver, third round. Like, I just can't do that. Like, either you go one or the other. Like, to me, I'm becoming more and more like Lamb at 11, especially with Becton now, which we got to talk about. Yep. And it's like, all right, if you go there, then you go offensive line in the second round because you got it. And the most important thing for me, and I think we said this on Tuesday or the last video, was it's the drop-off. What's the drop-off from the top 3 linemen, 4 linemen, to number 5 and 6, the top drop-off from the top 4 receivers to the rest of them? Because that drop to the second round of 48 is a long-ass wait, dude. We're going to be sitting there watching draft like, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone.
But at the same time, at pick 11, can you really allow what you view in round 2 and round 3 to, like, dictate what you're going to do at pick 11? Like, just because you think the receivers are better depth-wise, do you pass up the best receiver at 11 to take the 4th tackle on your board?
It's the argument we're going to have, dude. It's like, well, see, now I guess we got to talk about the failed drug test because that just throws out monkey wrench and all this shit because now you don't know what's going to happen. But it's like you're looking at if Becton's off your board now because of drugs, the failed drug test, which with the new NFL testing, it's not really a big deal, whatever else. The stupidity of it, of failing during an NFL combine drives me insane. Yeah. You cannot be.
Well, Larry Tunsil did the same thing, and he's still.
It's not ideal, but now it's like if you go by what Joe Douglas said, he's about man of character, man, like all this stuff, high character, integrity. If that pushes him off your board, there's a pretty good chance, dude. Those 3 linemen are gone, and now you're looking at what do you do with 11? Your option may.
You may be trading back. You may be trading back now.
That you may have to.
If all 3 receivers are on the board and you value them somewhat equally, and you think you can move back to pick 16 with the Falcons and maybe still get one of those guys, that's possible. Yeah,
this is where. Not having the time to really interview the kid and spend time with him. I think the Jets spent time with him. They did what? They did Thomas. Did they have a meeting with Becton or no?
I'm not sure. I think they did. I think they had a video conference with him. The only one I think they didn't do might have been maybe worse. I remember there's a report to who they spent time with. I remember Andrew Thomas was high on their list, but I'm pretty sure there was one of the 4 that they didn't spend a whole lot of time with.
But this is where you wish you had that extensive time to spend with him in meetings and really get a feel for the kid. And you got to do a lot of research to say, hey, how comfortable are, and what you can do is you could leak rumors to the media. Nope, he's off our board, hoping other teams say the same thing, and then he drops to you if you really want him, because the kid's a massive player. But
Well, that's why there was a lot of reports yesterday that some people think there's going to be a lot of surprises in the draft this year because you really haven't had the pro days where the GMs and scouts can kind of congregate and form like a generalized opinion. So you're going to have a lot of guys that both going high and low off the board that aren't really expected this year.
No, it's interesting, man. And now everybody keeps asking like what our opinion is, and I'm like I don't know. I'm not a draft expert, and it's like I just want to, you want to get, obviously offensive line's a priority. We'll keep repeating it over. Everybody keeps attacking us. Like, you have to go offensive line in the first round. You don't have to. If Joe Douglas is as good as he says he is, like, the draft goes more than one round, dude. Like, we hear about all the depth.
I think there's two things in play. The depth on the offensive line. So if he views certain guys like Ezra Cleveland, for example, or a few other interior guards that I think have potential to be there in round 3, if he views some of those guys, fine. But also if he has a Trent Williams trade in his back pocket or Jason Peters that he thinks he can sign after the draft, that's a possibility too.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's just so funny because I've been getting attacked like 2 days.
I've seen some of it, yeah.
It's crazy, but I'm like, dude, you don't understand. There's more than one round in this draft.
Yeah.
Like what's his face? Louis Riddick said, 55% of all pro offensive linemen were drafted after the first round. If Joe Douglas is as good as he says he is, you get the value later on. And you assess, listen, CeeDee Lamb, whoever it is, Ruggs is my guy at 11, because I know in round 2, I'm going to get offensive lineman that I want, that none of us draft experts even know anything about.
Yeah. And dude, that's why I keep saying, like, people want to talk about all the holes that we have, right? We need a corner, we need an edge, we need a depth running back. Simplify it. We need offense. We need offensive linemen and we need wide receivers. Those are our two most important needs for your quarterback. So you double up on it, you triple up on it if you have to. First 4 or 5 rounds, you take all offense and you let these guys compete. And you hope that at the end of next year, you have at least one receiver, if not 2, and at least one offensive lineman, maybe 2. And then you can address with your $100 million. You can find an edge rusher and you can use your premium picks to get your cornerback or whatever else you still need.
Yeah, and then after the draft, you can get your Logan Ryan, get your Marcus Golden, and whatever else, and then you have like there's
and there's still going to be veteran cuts. Like there's options for next year where the Jets don't have to prioritize corner and edge for the draft this year early on. So.
Yeah, and they have the cap space too, so they can do a lot of things. But it's just some of these draft takes, man. It's like Jesus Christ. I know you watch YouTube for 2 hours, but you're not an expert, and nobody is. Like if it's like if everybody knew what was going on, we wouldn't have busts every year. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It's just shit's insane, man. Let's see. I got a list here. So we got Adams, offensive lineman.
I saw a lot of questions coming in on Twitter.
Yeah, we got you. I got a bunch right here. I'm getting pounded, man. I've been getting attacked, dude. These YouTube streets are difficult now. Like the reaction from our last show. So let's see. I'll give you some questions because you're the expert here.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here.
Actually, I want to start with one for you.
Uh-oh.
From Ron Pickett. Chances that the Jets take Kinlaw or Brown at 11 if he falls to them. So the Jets go interior D-line. Is there any way that you could see that happen? No, right? No.
I mean,
best player on the board, so it doesn't matter?
To me, the best player on the board is going to be skewed to offense first. If the Jets go defense, if any way go defense, I think it may be corner, maybe. Or maybe I can't make a case for it. No. If they go,
I can't either. I can't even
fathom. Let's see, we got
just not on positional strength, but on need too. Like this is a good class at the top for offensive linemen and receivers, and those are your 2 biggest needs.
Especially the way they handle free agency too. You have legitimate holes at wide receiver. So we got Spotty Blackman. Let's see. Discuss why trading Jamal makes the Jets less attractive to potential draft picks and free agents. We talked about it. I mean, you trade away Jamal, that locker room's gonna be like, dude, no, they won't. Keeping your own out the window. Best player on the team out the window. Perception within the locker room, outside the locker room.
And that's why on Tuesday I brought up the McCaffrey signing because Matt Rule decided to come in as a new coach and reward a guy that was respected in that locker room.
Double down.
A guy that earned his contract. And now the players in that locker room see, if I perform well, this coach is going to reward me. And that's something that Joe Douglas and Adam Gase had a chance to do. And again, we're playing games right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at you always have like your culture guy or who's your faith, like your team guy, who's the representative of what I want in a player. It's Jamal Adams. Like this is plays hard, emotional, off the like he does it like he's getting better every year. He's an all-pro player. Like this is your model for what you want on your team.
And let me also say another thing. I keep seeing the argument thrown out there that fans are looking at him with like fan goggles, and I'm guilty of that at times. Like with guys that we just get emotional attachments to, whether we interviewed them, done events with them, whatever. But Jamal Adams is a different kind of player. He is on that level, that all-pro level with guys like Revis, who should be headed to the Hall of Fame when his career is done. He is on that level.
No, dude, no arguments here, dude. I completely agree with you. Like, it's just so weird how like these antics about contract change people's perception. It's just crazy. All right, we got Spotty Blackman's question done. Who is a player that you want to see the Jets draft and why? I'll let you go with this.
The first round?
Yeah, we'll go first round.
Well, I've been all over Henry Ruggs now. The idea of passing up Judy for Ruggs would be tough because I pick 11. You can't afford to miss. So I think Ruggs does have a little bit more miss potential. But I still like him more than I like CeeDee Lamb. Just if you watch some of the tape, I feel like a lot of Lamb's big plays were just when he was wide open against some bad defenses. And I think Ruggs, his talent translates a lot better. Yards after the catch, his speed. I think he's a guy that would be an immediate contributor in the slot or outside. And I think CeeDee Lamb, he hasn't faced enough press coverage yet to warrant that 11th pick. I still think he could be a number one, but I think just Ruggs and Judy have a lot more potential. So if they go that wide receiver at 11, I'd love to see one of those two guys.
So what's your pick? What's your pick at 11 right now?
It still has to be Judy. You have to play it a little bit safe. I think he's just too much of a can't miss guy. So I think right now I'd have to go with him. Although I think Joe Douglas is going to go offensive line.
Yeah, I keep going back. I waffle, dude. Like I always.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I waffle almost every day because I'll read an article like, yeah, I got to change my mind. Like I'm pretty like I'm really kind of sold on CeeDee Lamb to be honest with you, but then it's like I don't know. I go back with now this Becton thing with the whole like what happens with the lineman, who's going to be available. I have a funny feeling like one of those four are going to be there. I think I agree with you. Joe Douglas is going to take him because he has to go with the known commodity. He's going to do that. Yeah. If they're not, I mean, and then I think I would take Lamb over Judy, but I'm not a draft expert. I'm just about explosive guys. I want yards after catch. Like I understand Judy's route running, and then Ruggs. I mean, everybody keeps selling me on Ruggs. I'm like, Jesus, you watching? It's like he's so like you want that Tyreek Hill kind of guy on your team. You just do. Like the NFL is about getting the ball in the hands of guys and letting them fly. That's what it is. Like you can't really have, like it's just a word, especially when we have some kind of like.
And that's what Ruggs does better than arguably anybody in this draft class.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
All right. Next one we're going to go to. After speculation of possibly adding Logan Ryan prior to the draft, are there any other last-minute possible moves? I don't think so. I think now, this is our good friend Ryan Barger. I think, to be honest with you, I think everybody stands pat now. And it's like you're a week out. I mean, unless the Jets sign like Adams to an extension or some shit. But I think teams aren't going to make any moves now because they want to see who they can draft. Like, why spend money on a Marcus Golden if some pass rusher falls to you in the fourth round? You're like, you know what? I'll take him instead for much cheaper. I mean, what do you think?
No, I completely agree. I think you'll wait and see how the draft plays out, and then you'll try and address some of those needs after. And I think that's where you could see a guy like Logan Ryan or Trent Williams trade, Jason Peters, maybe even Marcus Golden as well. And again, I also point to, as we get later towards, cuts, if, the world is back in place, by August and everything, I think that's also a great time where you could add some veteran talent too.
Yep. You want to find a question? I'll respond to all our tweets trying to tell them we're answering.
Yeah, go
ahead. Let's see here. This is Ryan. See if you find any. I saw Ron Pickett. Yeah. Will Becton's flag drug test us at the combine changes value on Joe D's draft board?
It's possible, dude. Again, like you hear all the stuff about how he values character. You just gotta wonder like what the drug test was. I mean, if it was just like marijuana or something like that. I mean, I don't know if you just excuse that or if that's something that he looks at and says combined with the 370 pounds, worried about him eating too much. I don't know what the priorities are when you evaluate these guys.
It's so weird because the weird part about this is right now teams leak so much information to throw you off the scent. Like if a team loves a player, they're never going to tell you that. They're going to say, oh, the kid's fat. It doesn't work out good. Like they leak it to the media. The media takes it and runs away with it. Meanwhile, they could probably have a whole different evaluation on him. Freak him. He's so big and he's still growing into his body. He's a freak of nature, dude. But it's like that could be boom or bust. He could be a kind of guy that gets his big contracts, but like, you know what? I'm good, and I'm not going to do shit. And
I keep going back to Gase's fit also. I mean, with him looking for more athletic offensive linemen, I worry that Becton might not be the prototype that they're looking for.
Seems like Andrew Thomas makes a lot of sense, but I don't think he's going to be there. But okay. Yeah. How ridiculous is the idea of trading Jamal Adams? We covered that. If Becton is the only lineman of the big four available at 11, do you guys think Joe D will take him or pass on him? I mean, that's the question. I mean, that's if it comes down to Becton or Judy, Lamb, or Ruggs.
What do you think he's doing?
Shit, I don't know, man. I really, because the funny thing is, the you could see the reaction either way. If they pass on him, Joe Douglas doesn't. He passed on an offensive line. We needed him. He made a mistake. Blah blah blah. If they draft him, the Jets got a druggie. They have no cap. They have no. You know what I mean? Like they have
that and all the people that love Judy and Lamb and Ruggs are going to be pissed too. So
yeah. You can't win with that. But you can see the media, the articles are already written right now. They're already written. All I was going to do is post them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's see. We got another one here. We got this guy who sends a ton of questions. Holy shit. Trade scenarios. Is the talent drop off worth the compensation? I'll start with that because that's and I'll first one to admit it. I don't study the draft. I don't go I can't give you a mock draft 7 rounds deep. I don't get into all that shit. It's just not my interest. And I don't know. Don't get into it. But my concern, if you can get great value at it, we talked to these players for 45 minutes already. A great value at 11. If you have the guy you want there, I like to take the guy. If you have Ruggs as your guy or Becton Thomas is your guy, whatever else, I don't trade back those 4 or 5 picks to be cute. Say, okay, we can get more picks. I take my guy because we need players now. And
well, I think it also depends on what the drop off is from that next guy. If Ruggs is your guy, but Judy is just slightly below him, and you're also able to add a first rounder next year, I mean, do you pass that up?
Well, see, the one scenario could be if all the 4 offensive linemen are gone, and like you said before, say if at 11 you're getting your first receiver on the board, and you're only going back to 14, chances are you could probably still get your guy one of the guys you highly think. That I can see makes sense, but
yeah, the idea of trading back into the 20s, I think doesn't make any sense at all.
I hate that idea.
Yeah.
Trading back makes me nervous, and I keep thinking, especially if you go offensive lineman in the first round, I get very nervous with the second round because that's just a long wait, man. And I think that there's gonna be a run on wide receivers. Everybody needs them.
Well, that's why I keep talking about trading picks for next year to try and get something.
They may have
to move up this year because it's worth it. This draft class is worth it. These receivers, to get a guy right now for Sam Darnold that he can get a year of experience with, it's worth dealing picks for next year.
Yep. All right, we got AJ Tronzano. What type of return should the Jets get if they trade Adams? I hope not. The Jet fans deserve great players.
Well, again, that's why I said earlier, if you're even going to consider it, it's got to be a starting caliber offensive lineman that's under team control for at least a couple of years. It's got to be a first-round pick, and it's got to be more picks. And the team is not going to do that, so it's probably not going to happen. The return has to be so unrealistic that it truly is a deal that you're able to rebuild your team with. And if it's not, then you don't do it.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's got to be a deal where you're like, oh, this is a no-brainer. You don't sit and evaluate and wow, is that really worth it? It's got to be something that blows your doors away.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep going here. Got a lot of them, man. Holy cow. Let's see. This guy asked 3 of them. With the Jets looking at Logan Ryan, which position do we look at next? To me, it's easy. Pass rusher. I mean, I think I'm kind of in the same boat you are. I think Joe Douglas has guys lined up, man. I think he has pass rushers. Once the draft's over, he goes after pass rushers, corners, running backs.
Well, who's our kicker right now? Who's our punter right now?
Brett Maher.
Who's our backup quarterback right now? Who's our backup running back right now?
Don't get me started, man. It's only a matter of time for Joe Flacco comes. You could see that happening. I mean, it's whatever.
I wouldn't mind Flacco.
I wouldn't mind, dude.
He's probably gonna get too much money though.
Yeah, listen. I want a quarterback that's played before and can actually complete a forward pass and not just give in games. When a guy if David fails, we know he's not a good quarterback. You're basically saying we're gonna lose. We're okay with losing, they were last year. But we won't go into that because Joe Douglas is a genius and Adam Gase is great. They don't mail in games. This question is going to be for you because I couldn't tell you anything about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you see San Diego State center Keith Ismail as a good fit for the Jets, the day 3 pick? I have no idea who that is, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I saw the question, so I was reading a little bit about him. I saw a couple clips. I haven't done a whole lot of homework on him. I've mainly been looking at the first 3 rounds. But yeah, he's an athletic guy. He can play center. He can play guard. I think anybody that has versatility in the late rounds, as far as whether it's guard center or guard tackle, anybody with versatility that's athletic on the offensive line, if you can get them in the mid to late rounds, why not?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, dude. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Can the Jets get a true wide receiver 1 that'll really change the game in round 2 or 3? We hope so.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
That's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta get value players here.
Yeah, and that's what I keep fighting with a lot of people about, you included a little bit. I don't see any reason why we should not expect 2 receivers in this draft class. And even if you don't take one in the first round, you go 1 in round 2 and you take another one with your 2 third-round picks.
Fine with that.
And there's guys available. There's going to be guys available.
Yeah, well, Daniel Jeremiah said he has 18 receivers in the top 100 that are legitimate quality receivers.
The biggest reason I want to trade up is, like you said, the gap between pick 11 and 48. You're talking about Justin Jefferson. He's going to be off the board. Denzel Mims, Jalen Reagor, probably Brandon Ayuk, possibly Michael Pittman as well. Chenault, T. Higgins. All those guys are probably gone. So you're probably looking at the next wave with, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Chase Claypool, Brian Edwards, KJ Hill. So
Yeah, it's a drop off, dude.
Yeah. So if you think the drop off is that significant, that's where you really have to trade up if you go offensive line at pick 11.
No, I agree with you. Given the format of the draft, could we expect picks to be traded after teams pick them rather than before? Good question. With this whole at-home setup and this virtual draft, I don't really know how this is going to happen. I think a lot of mistakes are going to happen. I think there's going to be communication issues. I think there's going to be I think trading is going to be more difficult. I know the NFL has a dedicated line for trades and all this other stuff, but it all happens so fast. And if you're not you could be on Teams and on Zoom and talking. I think it's a lot more difficult to do it online than it is in a room in person where you can really plead your case or, get – I don't know. I think it's going to be more difficult to make trades this year, but I could be completely wrong.
I don't see why it should be that different. I mean, most of the trades, I feel like, are over the phone anyway, right? I mean, you might have your draft room with your own guys where you could discuss it.
Yeah, but if I'm if I'm here making a call, say I'm calling the Raiders, you're calling the Broncos. We're all making phone calls. Call, and it's like, all right, if I'm sitting next to you, deal's done. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I'd be like, listen, we can get Thomas this. What do you especially the first couple rounds aren't so bad. Later in the draft, when your time is quicker and shorter.
Well, that's why I hope that they have something set up like this in Zoom where they're all, able to kind of communicate in real time. And otherwise, if you're able to do that, I don't see what the difference would be.
You got to hope the Zoom stays up, the interconnection stay up. Imagine it all goes down, then what happens?
Imagine they get hacked. Bill Belichick sends in our draft pick 11.
And then the funny thing is, and the great thing is the Jets are trying to have this virtual draft where the chat room's going to be open and stuff. Good luck with that. Do you not know what Jet fans are going to do? That's going to be a disaster.
Yep.
How ridiculous is the idea of trading Jamal Adams? We already went that.
I could talk about that all day.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Anything else you got over there?
I don't see anything else.
Good morning, New York Jets. I'm getting nervous. You guys are going to mess this up again. Perfect.
I'm actually not nervous that they're going to mess this up. I feel like, at least in the first round, the idea of them not taking a tackle or a wide receiver, I don't feel like Joe Douglas can be that dumb.
I mean, at this
he
point,
has to recognize what a need it is.
We all have opinions. I'm kind of leaning more towards wide receiver now, just because I've been dying for one since Keyshawn. I love Coles, I love Moss, I love all these guys, but I just want that guy. So, but if they take Thomas or whoever, dude, I'm cool with it. Fine. They take a wide receiver second round. I'm cool. We don't know what they are. We accept it, but that's the two positions. If we get them, we say, all right, it's an area of need, and we picked it. Cool, and we will move on. And I'm like you. I like to see at least get two wide receivers. Obviously, an offensive lineman, maybe an explosive running back at some point because we need one desperately. And we only have so many picks and we have too many holes. And then after free agency, he's got to do really good with undrafted free agents, which he's supposed to be very good at in Baltimore. And then get some guys. And that's it. What else can we do?
Should be simple. Offense.
It seems simple,
Can't
right?
mess it up, right?
Okay, yeah. I mean, trying to think what else we have here. We covered Ryan. We covered the failed drug test.
I thought I had one other topic I wanted to go into. But...
I can go to my own Twitter account and share some things I get. Man, you want to see the shit I get all day long?
Why don't you read some of your mean tweets?
Oh, my mean tweets. I get attacked endlessly. You have no idea this shit. All right. While we're talking, let's talk mental health. Go on there and check it out. It's on YouTube. Subscribe. All right.
Finally did a video the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get them in there. Yeah. All right, let's go through some of the mean tweets I get. Let's see. Another more about the failed drug test. Let's see. I love the tweets that say, I don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know football. You're not an expert. Never said I was. Just a fan. Let's see. I had a couple good ones for you. Do you get any, or is it just me?
You get most of the hate. I get a lot of hate on YouTube. Twitter is a little nicer to me.
Let's see.
Except when I'm defending McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah. Were the New York Jets better without Revis, their best player then? They won't be better without their best player, Adams, now. That's true. I mean, well.
That's a very good point.
Yep. I don't want 33 traded, but if we do, Jets need a Herschel Walker package. That's probably.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying.
Yep.
If you're going to trade a player while you need talent, who's your most talented, you better make sure that you're able to not only replace him, but also add other areas too.
It is a voluntary workout. What is the big deal? Well, the big deal is now it's a distraction because now it's going to be in the story. It's just where there's smoke, there's fire. There's going to be angst about a new contract. And this is the first step of saying, and listen, Jamal loves the game of football. He likes to practice. But at some point you say, We can just follow what Revis did. He'll just hold out and hold out. He'll go into training camp, hold out until he has to show up, and he shows up. And it's a distraction.
Yep.
And it's not a big deal. I mean, the thing is right now, like we're in a pandemic where we're all bored. And as fans, because we're only fans, we react to stories. Like, what else are we supposed to do? Like the funny thing is like, oh, dude, you're so negative. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like, this story is annoying. I find it annoying, and I found that we knew it was going to happen.
The fans were going to react to the story regardless. Whether
Like, I don't know. What are we supposed to do?
No. He did it with a clear purpose in mind. If it was him that released it, he did it with a clear purpose in mind to send a message to the Jets. Christian McCaffrey just got his deal. We were drafted in the same draft class. Where's mine? And I don't blame him.
Problem is, Jet fans are pound for pound the dumbest fan base in New York. Adams is signed for 2020 and 2021. Douglas needs to finish putting together the 2020 roster. There will be plenty of time to address this.
Well, again, Jamal Adams in a new contract is not going to get new money. That's what I don't think people understand this. Everyone keeps talking about like, oh, we only have $10 million. That's going to our rookies. And then you still have to address kicker, backup quarterback, whatever else. I'm like, he's not getting new money this year. There is zero chance he's going to get new money in a contract this year. And probably not even next year, too. I think other than workout bonuses, Christian McCaffrey did not get any new money other than what he would have gotten in his fifth-year option. So Jamal Adams doesn't have that leg to stand on.
Yep. See, I don't know, but Jet fans are in a panic. First, Jets are up against the cap. Let Adams wait till post-draft. Plus, we have this year, next year to extend him.
Same points.
I mean, voluntary virtual workouts. Bro, you must be bored. Reaching is so much ridiculous.
People are also forgetting that the price is going to go up on Jamal Adams. You sign him next year, you wait another year, the price is only going up. The cap's going up. There's more money with the TV deals. It's going to be more expensive to sign him next year, if that's what you're looking to do, than to do it now.
He wants to skip virtual practices. Get off your horse. I mean, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of what this is the beginning of our process. Like he's going to miss this one, and then he'll miss the mandatory ones, and he won't hold up for training camp. Like it's just follow the Revis shit. It's like a blueprint.
Yep.
Let's see. Where was Revis in his contract? Did he have 2 years left on his rookie contract, or was he in his last year? The Jets would be nuts to re-sign Jamal this year. He has 2 years left, and then the franchise. The more we give him, the less we have to get. Better. It's about us, not him.
If it's about us is better with Jamal Adams. And also, I think it was on ESPN Radio yesterday. It was Don LaGreca that was talking about guys that in their rookie contract have been signed. I think there's been 25 examples. I didn't even realize this until after McCaffrey signed. There's been 25 examples of guys after their third year that signed extensions. So this is not something that's crazy. The idea of locking in a player before he's able to even get to that fifth-year option because he showed you everything that you were looking for in those first 2 years, there's no reason not to do that. It's a good gesture. It makes sense for the locker room, for a leader, when your team is lacking that. I can't think of a reason to trade him other than getting a ridiculous haul back.
Yep. Now this guy says, any way the Jets draft, you will be outraged. Not true. This is a defensive player. Like, I'm like, the whole goal of our show is to give different opinions and to, like, have conversations, debate things. Like, anybody can do the same podcast dictating what they read on the YouTube channel or whatever they read, like, regurgitate, like, a draft. This is just years of watching this team. And the funny thing is, like, the Jets haven't won shit in years. So we're kind of scorned when it comes to the draft. We're kind of skeptical about certain moves because we've already been burned before. The way you get rid of that ugly feeling is to do better this year with this draft. Free agency was not very inspiring. Draft better, and then as we go into the season, you see the light in the tunnel. Like, all right, I know what Joe Douglas is. I know what he can do. Right now, I'm not going to do that because I was burned by McCagnon. I was burned by Idzik. And, like, we got to admit that, like, I'm a damaged Jet fan because I'm just tired of seeing shit, and I've seen a lot of these mistakes before. So now going into this draft, I'm open-minded. We have no choice. He's got an excellent front office. They're all quality guys. And when they draft a guy, we can say, hey, you know what? I maybe have taken this guy, but we don't know, dude. We justified Quinnen Williams. We didn't really want, he's a great player. Leonard Williams, best player in the draft. We justified Calvin Pryor. We justified Darren Lee. We justify everybody. So you draft a player, you support it, you say they're good, and we move on. Like, I'm not going to be mad. The only way I'll be mad, defensive lineman. And our Zoom will be off the hook, dude, because our show will be over. Because I will curse so much, I'll break shit live. You'll see this monitor right here get broken live. Be done.
I'm not hoping for that now.
Dude, I'll be out of my mind.
But dude, I'm just like you, man. Like, for the most part, like growing up, and even as of like a few years ago, 4 years ago, I was always optimistic about this team. I let things play out. I didn't really rip them that much. But now it's like I want to see the results. I want to actually see these things play well, and all the words that we hear from Joe Douglas and Gase. Like, all right, show me. Don't just tell me. Actually, show me.
And we missed it, like, dude. Like, you watched like the Monday night game with Revis, the 9/11 game. Like,
Yep.
I missed those moments, dude. I miss being in the stadium when the games matter.
We haven't had them for so long. Like, we're numb to it now.
Yeah, but it's like you want those feelings when you wake up in the morning, you're proud of your team, like you're excited. You could talk playoffs. You could talk like, hey, we have one of the best whatever in football. Like, we want all these things, and we haven't had it. And then you see the way the team handles business just isn't good. Like, they didn't handle it right last year.
No,
they went 1-6. They made a lot of mistakes on and off the field.
Yeah, with Quincy, with Assembly, with Luke Falk.
I mean, there's
Brian
Khalil, a lot of things.
Yep.
And it's like then they celebrated beating the Bills at the end, which was embarrassing as shit. It's like, come on, dude. Like you want to believe, you want to buy in, but as an older fan, you're like, listen, I've been through this too many times, and we haven't won shit. So now I'm in prove it mode. Prove me you can find out how to way to win when you're playing much better teams on the road on the West Coast, when you're facing a lot of adversity against a good team. Like that goes from top down to Joe Douglas, Adam Gase, Sam Darnold. The whole friggin' team's got to prove it. Like they've proven nothing at all. So you draft well, and we don't even know this. And the thing is, like, no matter who they draft, the overreactions will start the minute they draft them for the next week and a half. We have no idea who they are. Like on paper, it could be the best draft class we've ever had, and they could all suck. It could be a draft class we have no idea who these names are, and they could be good, which we won't know for 2 years, except for the offensive lineman, which will probably start week 1. But we'll have no idea, dude.
Good times, man.
Let's see if I can find a couple more freaks. I got some doozies on here. I should have saved them.
You should go on YouTube and read some of the comments about me.
Oh, dude. Go ahead. Find out.
I got a log on. I think somebody told me I got manhandled by Long Beach Joe on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, what? Are you listening?
The dumb fan wouldn't be content with the starting left tackle for Darnold for the next 10 years. I would be. Like,
who wouldn't be?
Dude, I can't tackle. What I said was I was leaning towards wide receiver. If I want Lamb or Ruggs and they take Andrew Thomas, cool. I'm not mad, dude. Like, it's offense. Like, the problems are solved. Let's see.
No, and like you said, there's still 6 more rounds after that. So if they go receiver, you would hope that that's because he also views some offensive linemen in rounds 2 and rounds 3 that would be able to come in.
How can you be outraged if they land a top OT or wide receiver? I'm not. Simple enough.
Nobody would.
That's like listening comprehension skills. Like, or what is it? Comprehension skills. Let's see what else here. I got some doozies, man. I should have saved them. That's my bad. It's usually like on Tuesday, right after the show, like Tuesday and Wednesday, I get roasted for about a day. I just get completely attacked. Thank you to Jeff Lloyd again. He did an excellent job on the podcast. Phenomenal draft analyst. Let's see here. Not high on Claypool, but can't say I watched him a ton. Yeah, that's a guy that I mean, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but Chase Claypool's not on my list of guys I want.
Really?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
What don't you like about
him? To me, he's like a hybrid tight end, man. He's not really he's big, he's raw, phenomenal athlete, but he's like a red zone guy to me.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like a lot of what I read, between the 20s, he's not going to be effective.
He's a hell of a player, man. I'm like, I want that explosive speedster that runs all over the field and does things. He's not that guy. Phenomenal athlete, though. Trying to talk about the Sanchez years. I'm not going to go into that bridge. I like Sanchez. Let's see here. See if I can find a couple more.
Yeah, I miss all that. Sanchez years, having a home playoff game. 17 years, dude. 18 years, actually.
Dude, I was at all of them.
I went
to the away championship games. I went to Pittsburgh and Indianapolis.
Oh, I wish I could have did that. Actually, I'm glad I wasn't there for that.
The ride home from Pittsburgh was the longest road of my life. I was just none of us talked. We only talked for like 6 hours.
So the same thing as Buffalo.
Yeah, worse. But we were like we had no voice. And then when we left Heinz Field, we left there. They were throwing snowballs at us and shit. And I'm like, dude, you guys are going to Super Bowl. Like, why are you bothering us? You have nothing else better to do. Like, just I'm like, come on, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't find any more. I should have saved them. I have a bunch of them.
That's all good. If you want, I was gonna say we could open this thing up live and have people join in.
Or you just want to start another one, and this one we'll put this up and start another one?
Yeah, we do that.
All right, do it. I'm in.
All right, cool.